So I am about to go to a I'm about to go to someone's house. I don't know what's happening. I'm a little Oh dear. It's almost 12 a.m. and I am about to go drinking in the neighborhood with people I don't know. Is that crazy? I don't know. I mean, I've done speed dating before, but this is taking place in a person's house I don't know. And the person who invited me is someone I met like ages ago. I'll tell you the story about him like in a bit, but like I haven't met him in like over a year. He hit me up and was like, "I'm about to go to this like person's house to drink. I'm scared because I don't know any of them. Can you come with me?" Oh dear God, what am I doing? Oh. I have my car. I'm not gonna be drinking because I'm driving there, thankfully, but you know, I guess you never know what to expect with these things. I know all this darkness is probably scaring all of y'all, but like, maybe this will be better. Never mind. I'll let you guys know what happens. I'm scared. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. I did get a haircut. It's super short now. Like, I told you guys, right? It's just gonna keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And next thing you know, I'm probably gonna be like freaking bald. Anyways, this is a two-part story, so let's just dive right into it. A long time ago, probably sometime last year, I met this guy. He just basically messaged me, we talked a little bit, and he actually wanted to come over my house. I don't usually do this. Actually, who am I kidding? I do this a lot. It's not always sexual. I've told you guys this before. When I invite people over to my house, it doesn't automatically mean that I'm going to bang them. So this guy told me on the app that he was bored and he was looking for someone to drink with. So I invited him to my house, right? We start talking about like, you know, just like the basic stuff. We ended up getting to a part of a conversation where he told me he was going to church every Sunday. And I was just like, oh, okay. And once he told me that, immediately in my head, I think there were a bunch of like red flags that started shooting off. Only because I know what it's like to be gay and grow up in the church. I was praise team leader, I led Bible study groups, and I'm very well acquainted with the struggles that come along with it. And just as I suspected, this guy was super duper 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 Christian and in the closet. He was at a point where he had been dating a bunch of girls and it hadn't really done much for him. He always knew that he was attracted to men, but then he tried to like deny it. But then one day he couldn't really like, you know, take it anymore. And now he's just kind of in the phase where he's exploring, right? He doesn't know what he wants to do with his feelings yet, but he's just exploring. And in my mind, I thought, thank God he met me when he did, because I know exactly what to say to him because I've gone through his whole entire thought process. I've been there. I've done that. I just knew that I was going to be able to steer him in the right direction. So basically we talked and we went deep into the conversation. We talked about theology. We talked about the Korean church culture. We talked about shame. I told him my experience at the church. I also brought up the fact that I was also so much in the closet when I was a teenager that I took myself to conversion therapy, which is probably going to be a story for another day. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to let him know that I knew exactly what he was going through and that even though it didn't work out for me, he didn't have to compromise his faith just because he was gay. And that is something that I was not able to do for myself. There was just way too much deep-seated trauma for me that was connected to the church that prevented me from, you know, ever going back. We were just kind of really deeply connecting through this shared traumatic experience, right? And at the end of the conversation, He thanked me. We had a sleepover, and basically he was like, "Can I meet you again?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, of course. Anytime you need to talk, if you're ever ready to actually come out of the closet, just like contact me. I'll be here." I really wanted to be the person I wished I could have when I was going through the same things that he was. Now, from a romantic standpoint, I wasn't really getting my hopes up too much. He had a lot to process, and you can never be sure when they're going to be ready, right? To actually fully commit to a real, authentic, shameless relationship. But he was attractive. I'm not going to lie. He was good looking, and if he was ready, I would have dated him in an instant. But we eventually, went our separate ways, and he disappeared. Yeah, I didn't want to like shame him for disappearing because like I get it, right? And I really didn't hear from him after that until this month. When I got that message, "Hey Hyung, how are you doing? Do you remember me?" And I was like, "Who are you?" He sent me a picture and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I've just been great." And he was like, "By the way, I'm bored. Do you want to come to this speed dating thing?" And I was like, where? Yeah, I'm familiar with speed dating. He was like, "Oh, it's at someone's house." And I was like, "Oh, okay. That's not normally where we do the speed dating stuff, but can you give me a little bit more information?" He was like, "Yeah, I was looking through some forums and apparently they're having a meeting here at someone's house." And I was like, "Okay, how many people?" He's like, "There's apparently about four. And if we go, then it's going to be six." And he was like, "I really don't want to go by myself. I'm a little scared. Can you please go with me?" And I was like, "You know what? Sure, why not? We're both grown men. I have a car. If things go south, then we can both run away." And I don't know. Just, I decided to go with him to this speed dating at this random person's house, right? So we get there, we say hi, we sit down, and there are indeed four guys in front of us, right? The owner of the house, aka the host, he was a lot older than I thought. The guy next to him was apparently a friend. He was on his phone the entire time. And the guy next to him was cute, but like in a nerdy way, right? But he was also very quiet and keeping to himself. And then the guy sitting next to me on this side was very, very drunk. Also a little bit on the older side. So everyone's getting a little bit more tipsy. They're getting a little bit more comfortable. The church guy, he's asking a lot of questions. He's being very social. And one of the questions he ended up asking them was, "Have you guys come out of the closet before?" And that is a question that I usually don't ask in these kind of functions. It's supposed to be a little bit more lighthearted. I don't know why he asked this question. But then the host was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I don't come out of the closet." And actually, it's something that I never recommend any of my friends to do. And all of a sudden, I was like, huh. Now, why would he say that? I understand if someone doesn't want to come out of the closet, but to actively discourage the people around you from coming out of the closet is a completely other thing, right? I just asked the question like, "Oh, can I know the reason why?" So the host ends up telling us a story about how his friend came to him asking whether he should come out of the closet or not. Apparently, he was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about it. I'm a lot more comfortable with who I am now. And I really want to start telling people that I'm gay because I don't want to lie anymore." And apparently, the host was like, "Oh, yeah, you should definitely do it. But just be careful, take your time." So basically, he takes his advice and starts coming out of the closet to a few of his friends. One of the friends ends up getting a little upset by his coming out and ends up telling his whole entire family and friend group. And they all basically turn on him and he ended up ending his life. And then the host was like, "Yeah, and that's just one of the cases." He's like, "I've had multiple friends who have ended their lives because they came out of the closet. And that is why I actively discourage all of my friends from coming out of the closet." Now I'm listening to this completely shocked, not knowing what to say, when all of a sudden the other older guy who's right next to me says, Oh yeah, I've had that happen too. He's like, a few of my friends also ended their lives because of like coming out issues. And then cute, nerdy looking guy, he was also like, oh yeah, like none of my friends ended their lives from coming out of the closet, but a few of them did pass away in the Itaewon incident a long time ago. And I'm just listening to all of this. In my heart, I wanted to be like, I have no idea how traumatic that must have been. Like, I could never understand. But when someone has 100% come to terms with their sexuality, they're financially independent, they have a big group of chosen family that are supporting them through this process. When all of the things are aligned, coming out is not always as bad as it can seem. That's what I wanted to say, right? But in that moment, like I really could not mumble a word. I just felt like anything that I said in that moment felt like it was disrespecting their experience and disrespecting the friends that they lost. And on the other side, I am also losing my mind because the one person who shouldn't be listening to all of this is a church guy who's literally sitting right next to me. The one that I had like hours of conversations with, trying to undo his mindset of the toxic Christian shame ridden mindset that has been plaguing him, right? This is not what he needs to hear right now. However, the can of worms have been opened and there was nothing I could do. We basically wrapped up and I went home feeling a little bit horrible. In one aspect, I'm very thankful that I was able to come out when I did, and I was financially stable. I was mentally questionably stable, but nevertheless, I was able to come out of the closet. And despite the losses, I'm happy. I'm comfortable. I'm at a stage where I don't even second guess who I am anymore. But in another aspect, I was just so sad that the reality for most people in Korea is still very hopeless. I don't know. I just started thinking of all of the people that I have met throughout my dating season and thought about what kind of journey they could have possibly been going through and how difficult it must have been for them, right? And how, in some ways, although I understood, I think I still somewhat disregarded the sensitivity of what they could have been going through. I don't know. I guess I just had a lot of thoughts. So yeah, that was my super fun, light, random speed dating session at someone's house. Now, I know you guys are probably asking a question. What happened to the church guy? Are you still in contact with him? Answer is no. I am not contacting him at the moment not because he disappeared, but basically because I found out that he is a huge fuckboy and a tiny bit of a scumbag. So yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. I've done everything I could for him, and it was time to let him go. But anyways, happy Pride! Happy Pride! I know it's the end of June, but I really just wanted to get this video out and let you guys know that although it is a time for celebration, there are many people around the world who are still very much struggling and doing their best to survive. And with that said, no matter what sexuality you are, I see you and I love you, and you are more than enough. Make sure that you're safe. although I don't update as much as I'd like to, I really do hope that my channel, my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, my Instagram, I don't know, just I hope that my existence could be at least a little bit of comfort and a safe space. Anyways, happy Pride again, and yeah, I'll see you in July.